The world is getting cray-cray. The world is getting cray-cray. Welcome in, everybody. Saturday morning here on LTL. I just got up maybe about a half an hour ago. I woke up to leaf blowers and lawn mowers, and it's always the same people literally every day that leaf blow and lawn mow their lawns 4 times a day during the week, and then they feel the need that they have to get up on Saturday morning and do this shit at like 7 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, you just mowed and leaf blowed your lawn yesterday. I don't know. Is that like a mental disease? Does that happen in your neighborhood too? Are you one of those people that mentally constantly mow your lawn and leaf blow your property? It's an absolute mental disease. And I talked about, like, the other day, walking your neighborhood and seeing a house that's really fucked up on the outside, and you just stand there and you look at it and you go, I wonder what that house looks like on the inside. Wonder what the house looks like on the inside. But the world is crazy. And I came across something yesterday, and I don't know why this is not getting talked about more, but this is an absolute masterclass in confession. A journalist named Greg Floyd out of Albany, New York, interviewed a guy. His name was Lorenz Krauss, and actually got to him to confess to the murder of his parents back in 2017. And I saw this and I'm like, this is absolutely crazy. I found the interview. There's a Jailhouse interview that we're going to play, and then we're going to get Greg Floyd's reaction to this whole thing as well too. It is crazy. So we'll see who's in here. Seven says we got to keep things tidy. Yeah, but I always seem like it's like this time of year people start to do it. And maybe that's just like because the winter's coming, and then people get kind of freaked out that the winter's coming, so they're not gonna be able to mow their lawns and leaf blow everywhere. But then what do we hear? If we get a lot of snow, we start hearing all the snow blowers. We hear people shoveling. I don't know. It's crazy. It's crazy. Melissa, good morning to you. Good morning to you. Mary P says it's a mental disease. That's why towns have noise ordinances. Yeah, that's true too. I've heard about stuff like that. It's just wild. Like I look out the window and I'm like, that lady literally just mowed her lawn 8 hours ago. She's out there mowing her lawn, and now she's out there mowing her lawn again. Of course, with her electrical lawnmower. Can't be a gas powered one because we don't want to hurt the environment. But she's out there with her electrical one. What do you do if you're mowing your lawn and then you run over your cord and cut the cord? You're like halfway through. And then what do? Do they go in the garage and they get the gas mower and come out and do it by gas? I don't know. I don't know. Coffee Cake says yes, but I think there's something emotionally going on with people who need to make noise so the entire neighborhood knows they exist. Yeah, it's crazy. Joyce says, I can't stand it when someone mows before 9 a.m. I know. Just at least give us a little time here, right? Give us a little bit of time. But anyway, let's talk about this. A little off-brand here for the channel, but I thought it would be something relevant that people would want to be interested in. And I don't know why people are not talking more about this. This is an absolute masterclass in journalism to what happened in this interview. Let me pull up the article. We'll go through it, and then we will go through the actual interview itself, and we'll get the reaction from this journalist, Greg Floyd, who works for CBS 6 up in Albany, New York. And then we have a Jailhouse interview that he actually conducted with Lorenz Krauss after he was literally confessed on camera. Police were waiting for him outside the news station. They took him into custody, and he has been arrested and charged with murder of his parents. This is wild and crazy. And I can't wait to get into it. Jedi Jen says, good morning. Good morning to you, too. Make sure to smash that like button when you come in. All right, let's look at this article. So son confesses on camera to killing missing elderly parents after remains found buried at their New York home. And his parents went missing, I believe, back in 2017. So let's read this here. A deranged Albany man admitted to killing his elderly parents and burying their bodies in the backyard of their quiet suburban home in a chilling on-camera confession. Quote, I buried them in their property. Lorenz Krauss, the son of Franz and Teresa Krauss, who disappeared without a trace back in 2017, said in a jaw-dropping exclusive interview with CBS 6 on Thursday, quote, you buried them in your backyard of your house in Albany. CBS 6 Greg Floyd asked, yes, Krause 53 chillingly answered. The interview aired for just hours after police discovered 2 bodies buried in the family's home. Investigators began digging in the yard on Wednesday, and they uncovered the first set of human remains. A second body was found on Thursday. You suffocated them. You suffocated your parents, Floyd asked, as a series of stemmering back and forths where Krause tried to backpedal on the confession and then invoked his Fifth Amendment rights. Yeah, basically, Krause said, nodding. My father, after he died, my mother put his head on his chest. After a few hours, I finished her, Krause said. Jeez, man, it's fucking chilling. This guy has, like, no conscience. He then detailed how he choked his father with his hand and strangled his mother with a rope. Fuck. And then it took him several days to decide to bury the bodies in the backyard. Explain. All right. I don't want to like kill too much of this interview. Let's pull the interview up. This was wild when I was listening to this last night. But again, going back to an absolute masterclass of journalism here and getting someone to actually confess. So let's play the interview here. We'll go through
it. All right, Lawrence. Well, thanks for sitting down with us. We really appreciate it. We'll get to the statement, but first we want to talk about the more recent event, actually the prior events and now the more recent events. Take me back to the summer of 2017. What happened to your parents?
My mother wrote me a note, which the police must have now, describing her walking across Whitehall Road. I mean, not Whitehall, Wolf Road. And she fell down on her face. And she had, when I saw her a week or so later, yellow and green, black and blue marks from this. And
yeah, my mom fell once too, flat on her face, just like that, wearing glasses, flat on her face, broke her nose, had all that, black eyes, the yellow for months after she healed, broke her nose. It was wild. All right, let's listen to this guy actually confess to Greg Floyd, CBS 6 News, of murdering his parents and burying their bodies. This is wild.
She wrote that down, and that was a situation that became a problem, because when elderly start to fall down, the time comes that they started, beginning of the end. And my father also had cataract surgery, and he lost his vision to double vision, so he couldn't be he couldn't drive. So they were losing their independence and so forth. And my mother had a brother who had Alzheimer's, and my father had a sister who had Alzheimer's. They were both in nursing homes. My mother had a second sister who also had Alzheimer's. And they put you in a bed, they put catheters into you, they rip your teeth out to try to keep you, the whole 9 yards. So this is in the back of my mind.
So you didn't want to see them deteriorate and go through that, did you?
And I'll mention, the police know about my sister, and having to see my sister die from cancer I was 16, she was 14, go through 9 months or so of, the agony of cancer patients.
Mm-hmm. So did you kill your parents as a mercy killing to put them out of their misery?
That's a good turn right there, because you're just letting this guy spout off, and then all of a sudden he's going to hit him with the question and see how his reaction is. This is 2 minutes in, and watch. It's pretty wild.
You can be honest with us.
I know. I'll leave that for the statement that I put on your website.
The statement doesn't mention that.
I know.
The statement does not mention that.
Right.
I want to hear from you.
Yeah.
What did you do to your parents?
I buried them in their property.
You buried them in the backyard.
There it is.
Of that house in Albany.
Right.
At what point did they become deceased?
I need to see.
Can you imagine if you're Greg Floyd at this point? I'm talking about Greg Floyd is the journalist actually doing this interview. You've now got this guy to literally confess on camera. And can you imagine, like, his adrenaline must just be like, it's wild. I mean, I would be like, holy shit, I can't believe he just said this. I can't believe he just said this. All right, let's back up. Let's hear it real quick again.
Be honest with us.
I know. I'll leave that for the statement that I put on your website.
The statement doesn't mention that.
I know.
The statement does not mention that.
Right.
I want to hear from you.
Yeah.
What did you do to your parents?
I buried them in their property.
You buried them in the backyard of that house in Albany.
Right.
At what point did they become deceased?
I need to see a calendar to sometime August 2017.
And did they die at your hand? That's the question.
Right. I'll have to leave it for that statement.
But that's not in the statement. And I think
Right.
it's important for people to know what happened to your parents.
Right.
They were your parents. You loved them. They were deteriorating. What did you do?
I will.
Don't tell me you're going to leave it to the statement because it's
Well,
not in the statement.
I know.
What did you do to your parents?
My goal is for the
So
American.
what he keeps referring to is that he wrote a two-page, I wouldn't say manifesto, there's some statement of his I was reading it, his politics, his political views, you know, what he thinks that's going on in the world. And usually all these nutsos have all these kind of like weird thoughts and manifestos that they write. But I love that he keeps pushing him here, and it's crazy. And the guy's sitting there and he's gonna talk through this thing. All right, let's play.
To recognize that there's 40 million boomers. They're all going to go through the same kind of problems.
Mhm.
It affects all of us, and we need to widen up the law so that people can deal with these kind of problems in a humane way, in a whatever way that people can deal with. And I did my duty to my parents.
So you
There you
ended
go.
their lives.
There you go. Joy called it. She said, if this dude is going to say he killed them for their benefit, there you go. All these wackaloons do, these fucking squirrely nut turds. There it is. I did it for their benefit.
I won't.
You're
admit it.
saying that without actually saying that word. I want to hear you say that word. You
Yes.
ended their lives
I have
to give them mercy, you're saying.
to plead my Fifth Amendment rights until I can disclose it with my statement there.
Did you have any concern that whatever you did was wrong?
I would never have done such a thing if I ever did it, knowing it's wrong.
So you believe what you did was right. You believe taking your parents' lives was the right thing to do for their sake.
If I did it, absolutely that.
But you did do it. You're saying to us that you did it.
There's a statement there that we'll deal with more later, if you want to know.
Lawrence, I appreciate that, and we'll talk about your statement, but show me where in this statement it says that you killed your parents. It doesn't. It doesn't talk
Right.
about the fate of your parents here. You
Right.
keep talking about the statement answering my question, but the statement does not answer my question. It's the question people want to know. And I think they need to hear it from you.
Yes, there's
So-
a time for that.
And I think now's the time. Did you kill your parents to put them out of their misery?
My concern for their misery was paramount.
Mhm.
And
This is wild.
it was a huge burden to have to face this coming up.
This is like 2 days ago.
You know, this is a horrible situation.
Sure. So you alleviated that burden.
Thursday.
You're a good questioner. I have to protect my Fifth Amendment rights on this until the right time.
I'm not an attorney. I'm
Right.
not an officer
Brody,
of the law.
Lord, confess.
You don't have to say that to me.
Oh, yes, but I mean, whatever I say here is going to be held against me elsewhere, right?
Of course, but you probably answer to a
Bro, you've already confessed.
higher authority anyway in the long run. So I
Right.
think you can tell us what happened. Did you kill your parents together at the same time in the same place? What method did you use?
All of that, all that kind of stuff I would answer later with that deal with the American people. But I'm not going to speak about such things like that.
But you have a chance to tell the American people right now.
I
Yeah.
want their feedback on my statement. Then I can believe that I can tell the truth uninhibited.
You don't think you're going to get better feedback if you're honest with them? And tell
Well,
us what happened?
I put things in the right order that have to be in the right order. But it's very important that insofar as exculpatory material, the police have that statement from my mother regarding what happened to her crossing the street at Wolf Road, falling down, you know.
Right.
And she
That-
also had a problem with, she mentioned she was getting lines in her eyes for some reason. And there was no,
I just love the persistence and the fact that Lorenz Krauss hasn't gotten up and just walked out of the situation. Now, keep in mind, law enforcement now is converging on this TV station to literally arrest him right after this interview. So keep that in mind. Law enforcement is now working their way over to the news station to arrest this guy. This is absolutely wild. All right, here we go.
I don't know what that would be.
That was the prelude that helped set things in motion. You're saying
That was the
that started your parents' downhill trend health-wise.
yes, but also the letter from her to me said do something,
Wackaloons.
or this is you need to know this, in a way that was
Your parents asked you to kill them or to take their lives in a merciful fashion?
I think they want me to take responsibility for things.
They asked you to take their lives, to do what they couldn't do?
Implicitly, but not explicitly.
So you were just granting their wishes?
My mother, after my sister died, my mother would give me these do not resuscitate things every few months. And she wanted to die, given her grief for my sister, her daughter.
And you love your parents and you wanted to honor their wishes?
You know, there's something special about our family that we can somehow read each other's minds. And so being things explicit isn't necessarily, you know, I could complete my grandmother's sentences for her, and she would say, well, so, I mean, the context of all this became to bear on me.
Did one parent, did your mom or your dad more so than the other, ask you to take their lives?
They didn't explicitly say that, but they made it clear that they were going downhill.
When it actually happened, when your parents died, did they know it was happening to them?
Oh, yeah.
And they knew it was at your hand?
Well, yes, no one else's.
Right. So they realized what you were doing to them as it happened.
Yes.
They knew that this was it for them, that they were perishing at your hand.
Yes. And it was so quick.
How did you do it?
Yeah, I can't talk about that.
Well, you've just told us that
Right.
it was at your hand.
Right.
Were there drugs involved? Was
No.
there a suffocation? You suffocated them? You suffocated your parents?
Yeah.
That was the best way to take their lives, through suffocation.
Basically.
Which parent did you suffocate first?
My father, and after he died,
Christ.
my mother put her head on his chest, and she was there for a few hours, and then I finished her.
And then what did you do? Did you bury them immediately?
No. I didn't know what to do after that. I was thinking what to do. And it took me several days to realize I can't do this, I can't do that. Just bury them on the property, and it was wide open sunlight. I remember my sister, she received either a gift of a lamb or a lamb was given to her upon her funeral, but that lamb showed up, and I put it on my mother's grave, and the police must have that now too.
You call it a grave? You bury them in the backyard, you see it as a grave?
Well, I bury them, and I put a thing around my mother's grave, and and I planted a peach tree next to her, and I put that there.
What did you think as you were doing it? As you were taking their lives? What was going through your head?
Not thoughts, action. Make sure it's done, and not fool around, not make a mistake. But I'm sure the police are going to say what an incompetent idiot I am on that. But
Did they both pass away peacefully? Did they struggle as you did it?
I would say the last minute, no. But they're I think my father died very quickly, surprisingly quickly. That shocked me.
Jeez, man.
And then the part with my mother, that went quickly too.
Did you realize what you were doing as righteous as you may have thought it was illegal? And
Oh yeah.
Amazing questions from Greg Floyd, just to get everything out in the open. And again, he's not an investigator. He's not a police officer. He's not trained in any of this. But the questions that he's just keeping him on topic, because now he's got him talking. So now he's just going to keep firing away and just say, hey, what can I get out of this guy? And again, keep in mind, law enforcement is on their way to the news station, and they are going to be waiting, and they will arrest him immediately after this interview when he exits the station. Essentially, if you guys are just coming in, we're looking at a case of Lorenz Krause up in Albany, New York. His parents went missing back in 2017, and there had been someone called to the property, I believe, on that Wednesday. One body was found, and as the second body was being found, Krause went to CBS 6 in Albany and gave this interview to Greg Floyd. And you're seeing this firsthand. Basically a man confessing on camera to a journalist that he murdered his parents. It's absolutely wild. Hats off to Greg Floyd to getting this guy talking and keeping him on topic and getting out the facts that they need in this investigation. Here we go.
you knew you were breaking the law. You knew you were.
Well, that's what I'm saying. We have to squeeze the law to fit the humans, not us, the humans to fit the law. And we have 40 million boomers. They're all going to suffer a horrible death, typically. My mother always, if somebody died in their home, she would say, great, the person died with their boots on, instead of going to a hospital and going through a meat processing factory kind of thing. So they were both children of World War II. My mother was born in 42. She was a toddler. She told me she would follow funerals behind the horse and wagon. This is the kind of world she grew up in. My father was at age 12 in a communist concentration camp for 3 years. So they had very serious lives, given the globe, the genocidal British geopolitics, as I call it. So they were not fooling around on things. They were serious people.
When you were doing this, did you think about the financial ramifications?
Right back to the questions. Just let him go off on his tangent, and boom, look at this. No piece of paper, no prepared questions, just firing on all cylinders, looking at this guy, letting him spout off, already has the question prepared in his head, what he's going to ask him next, and just keeping him on topic and getting the information he needs. Absolute masterclass here.
The fact that you would continue to take their government money?
Once that happens, what do you do? The government is pissed because I took the Social Security money and gave it to people who are starving in the Philippines. Okay, then, be angry about that. But the police know all the money that I have went to people to help them. Thousands of dollars. I gave almost, not all of it away because there was still a lot left. But I gave away, I didn't play with the money, I gave it away. I didn't enrich myself.
Does that justify what you did?
No, but
no, he doesn't know. He doesn't know. All he knows at this point is that they've been searching the property, and he came here to basically do this confession. All right, here we go.
This is not a kill for money case, is important to say. It's in fact, I was helping people before that just fine. So it didn't. The issue of taking my parents' money for other purposes related to that doesn't fit. That's why the police, they had a theory going which we talked about on Tuesday, and they wanted to try to say that this was taking their money to give away to other people, but it was that the other part is the primary situation.
Some would call that blood money,
Right, and I was giving it away.
but it's still blood money.
Well, if you kill to take somebody's money away, that's blood money. But if you know, what was I supposed to do with this money? Again, I couldn't tell anyone. The government needs to have an office where you can say, this is something that happened, and here's how it happens, and they need to have an.
Yeah, basically, it says all right. So it says police arrested Krause outside WRGB studios immediately after the interview. He said he first came under authorities' scrutiny in connection with alleged financial crimes as a local Times Union. Hang on a second, I'm fixing my microphone. Union Times newspaper reported, acting on a tip fielded in May. The Social Security Administration requested that police check on Krause's parents, Franz and Teresa, who were thought to be 92 and 83. Officers did not see any signs of them, although they were abstainedly still collecting benefits. By Wednesday, and this Wednesday that just passed, investigators started digging in the Krause family backyard and found one set of human remains. They said they found another set of human remains on Thursday. Local police chief Brendan Cox said that he was confident the remains were those of Franz and Teresa Krause. Lorenz Krause contacted several news outlets before arranging to sit down with Floyd and claiming his killings of his parents had been merciful. They knew they were going downhill, Krause said. He alluded to how Teresa had been injured crossing a street and Franz was unable to drive after ongoing surgery for cataracts. Let's see here. And it just says he appeared in court on Friday after his arrest and pled not guilty to 2 charges of murder, as well as illicitly concealing a corpse. He was ordered to be held without bail. So back in February of 2020, police received a call to check on Krause's parents, according to the New York Post. A neighbor reportedly told officers that the Krauses had moved out of the U.S. So yeah, it's basically started as like a social security scam, and it just took this long to basically catch up. All right, let's play more of the interview here.
You need to deal with these kind of problems in an open way. Everything in this country is hidden away, and this is a societal crisis. Again, 40 million people are going to deal with this, and maybe a multiple of that given their friends and family. So I mean, it's a reality of human experience. And I just wanted to say, in 2020, there was this YouTube channel called Tribe of the Fox, and they did a video called The Mannerbunde. And they explained how in the ancient times, they had men who would do this for the elderly, so they wouldn't have to suffer. And of course, the ancient Greeks always believed in dying on the battlefield rather than dying, in a bag of bones, like a bag of bones. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, culturally, America is totally different.
They didn't die on a battlefield, though. It sounds like they died in their beds with a pillow over their faces.
No, but you could put it that way.
I mean, it wasn't a battlefield.
Well, right. It's not. I mean, the preference of people of the ancient Greeks was to die on the battlefield rather than die so infirm that you had nothing. No.
What did you use to suffocate?
Right back to it.
For my father, my hand. For my mother, a rope.
So you strangled her?
Yeah, that would seem better.
It was strangulation, not suffocation?
Well, it's the same. No, denial of oxygen.
Okay.
But also blood circulation.
So you cut off the oxygen to both of them. That was your method.
Yeah.
Okay. Now that this has come to light and the police started investigating, and do you have any regrets?
I did the right thing for them based on the situation. I did my duty to them as a son, and that's everything fell into place. I don't know how it happened that it all fell into place, but it did. And so no, I don't have. It's a horrible situation to be in. One does one's duty, and one is done. The issue of regrets, I can't say this. It's a regrettable experience, a regrettable situation, and of course, life is horrible. It has horrible moments in life, but that's that.
I just want to make sure.
You got to think about it. You know, what they say, his father was 83, his mother was 92. I mean, can you believe the horror as this is being done to them, what they're going through, what their thoughts are? Here's your son doing this horrible, awful thing to you, literally murdering you. And these are the last final thoughts of your life. Absolutely crazy as shit. This guy's crazy as shithouse rat. All right, let's see what Greg Floyd's going to do here. I'm sure he's going to go back to the methodology of how he did all this and planned all this. Let's see if he gets it out of him.
I have it correct because I'm a journalist and facts are important. You used your hand, a single hand to kill your father?
Right.
There you go.
Putting it over his
No.
nose and you choked him. Okay.
Yeah.
And you did the same with your mother, but with a rope. You choked her with a
No,
rope.
no. Just a rope.
Right. I'm sorry, but I meant you choked her with a rope though instead of your hand.
Right.
Okay. Are you on any medications today?
No. Well, no.
Nothing?
Nothing.
Is your mind clear and
I'm just a little sleepy, but I'm trying to keep my eyes open, but that's okay.
okay, but you have no mental disabilities that are affecting what you're saying here today?
Correct.
You're confident in what you said and clear of
Yeah.
mind?
Masterclass in journalism.
Okay.
I would appreciate. I hope that you could put this on YouTube, the whole thing.
I'm sure we'll put this on.
Yeah, I'm sure we will.
And are
After
you
your
ready to
arrest.
face the consequences now with the police and the authorities?
Yes, but I would like the American people to also read my statement so that everybody can have something to appeal to on this. I know my statement is you know, I'm not really concerned about the police or the courts or anything. There's something much bigger in life, and we have to deal with the big things in life.
Okay. But again, just to be certain, in 2017, you took your father's life.
Love it. Going right back to
Correct.
it.
And then moments later, or a short time later, you took your mother's life on that same day.
Right. Well, see, that's the thing. It was late at night, and it was like late evening on one day into early morning night.
Okay. So within hours of each other.
Right.
You imagine the producer of the radio state, the TV station, like calling the cops. Yeah, you guys are probably going to want to get over here right now. We have Lorenz Krauss literally confessing to the murder of his parents. And I'm sure, this probably wasn't, this wasn't aired live, but, and listen, we got it all on tape. It's crazy. All right, let's keep playing through about another 10 minutes or so in this interview. Then we'll go to Greg Floyd's reaction, and then we'll go to the Jailhouse interview that Lorenz Krauss had with Greg Floyd. So they've kind of have that relationship now, I guess. And it's probably one of the wildest things that have ever happened in this journalist career. But absolute masterclass of keeping this guy engaged, circling back around, asking the questions over and over again to get it clear, have it on the record. All right, here we go.
What did you do between the taking of your father's life and the taking of your mother's life?
I'm trying to remember because there was. Yeah, I don't remember.
Did you sit with your mother? Were the three of you together in one
Well,
room?
before they died, my father was here, my mother was here, and I told them what happened to me and my sister after she died.
Thank you, Mary.
And my sister died in the house too, because when she died from the cancer. But she died in May of 1988, and then in that fall was I was doing my 11th grade now then, and there was I had to do a paper in a big test, so I did an overnighter to do that test, and then tried to do a second overnighter to finish that paper or something, and I crawled into bed at like 2:45 in the morning, and sometime then after I popped out of my body, and I started floating up to the ceiling. I saw the nooks and crannies, and I acknowledged that the nooks and crannies of the ceiling, and then the whole world disappeared, and I was in this big black void, and it was rushing by, and then I saw my sister in a doorway in profile. Anyhow, after that, So it was like a near-death experience kind of thing.
Mhm.
And so I told my parents about that experience, and I told them it's time, go find Rosa. My sister's name was Rosa, and so my father just died quickly, so quickly. And I told him find Rosa, and that's that.
And then again, just take me through after your mother died. How long was it before you buried them?
Look at this, just going right back to
Approximately.
it.
Like 2 or 3 days, actually.
So your parents' deceased bodies were in your house with you for 2 or 3 days.
Right.
And then you decided you had to do something to cover up your crimes or to properly bury them and send them on their way.
Right. I mean, I needed to. Yeah. I mean, basically, I had to bury them.
Was the burial to cover up your crime?
Um,
You didn't want to be found out.
right. Of course. I mean, what to do? So again, the thing to do just occurred to me. Oh, she can fit here and he can fit there, and then just do it. And it was done. And that's that.
Have you lived with fear of being found out all these years?
I struggle to do other things with my life to try to make something great out of it, because if that's what I know, that they would not want me to rot away to death in prison over this. And I have a duty to everyone to make the best out of my life, and in the end, do what's best for the people of Germany. Really, I call it being a Vogue saver. It took me years to understand all this, but I learned a lot in the last 8 years that I never knew before, and I learned, self-educated in so many ways. So I did not. The issue of being caught is. I was able to buy time to solve huge problems. And that's worth it in many ways. To the American people, to me, and to them, to their legacy, to their,
Do you think people are going to accept this rationale
they probably won't.
and feel for you?
What they need to feel is for their own parents. They're going to face the same problems, and they're going to have to find solutions ahead of time, or else they're going to end up like me. That's the reality.
Are you telling other people that when their parents start ailing, they should take their lives?
They have a duty to their parents to bring them comfort at the end of life when they believe they need to.
This guy's totally mentally ill. I want to read this note here. It says WRGB station manager Stone Grinsom told the Associated Press that he had personally searched Krause to make sure he was unarmed after he arrived for the interview. Grimsom also said that there was a plainclothes police officer in the front lobby of the station where the interview unfolded. So they had an officer there on site, knowing this guy was crazy and squirrelier than nut turds. And yeah, he's totally arrested now. And we're gonna play his Jailhouse interview in a second here, actually by the same journalist, Greg Floyd. So yeah, and listen, I'm not gonna read his little manifesto thing. He went into things about Trump and Zionists and Germany and banks taking money, and I have no interest of reading and spewing that crap out there. If you guys want to look it up, you can look up you can look this up. Okay, let's play the rest of this and we'll go to the Jailhouse interview.
But again, just to be clear, you took both your parents' lives.
Yes.
And you realize that you're probably going to face the criminal consequences.
Oh, of course.
I mean, you're probably going to be arrested and charged. And
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure they're going to, it's a process. You have to go through the process. How it will come out at the end, I don't know. But to influence that process, I would beg the American people to read that statement.
All right. Lawrence, thank you for being with us.
Oh, I appreciate it
Okay.
very much. Thank you.
I appreciate it. What the fuck?
You good, guys? You good, Stone? I think we covered all
Not
bases.
really.
Yeah. Is there anything else you want to say?
Why did you write that manifesto?
What?
I'm calling it a manifesto. What would you call it?
A statement to the American people. Is that what I wrote? That's what you wrote down?
I wrote statement to the public because you said that.
Yeah, I
you
think-
said that to me.
Right. Yeah. A statement to the public. What was the other option to call it?
Manifesto.
Not a manifesto.
Just a statement to the public. It is a bit rambling, a bit hard to follow.
Right. That's why I say I need more conversations over this.
But do you think people are going to want to talk about this or the fact that you
Absolutely,
took your parents' lives?
Right, they're going to talk about that. That's what they want to know. It's just reality. So I mean, they'll it's a horrible situation to be in. Many other people are going to face it.
But are other people going to take the same actions you took?
Probably not, because they don't have the same kind of sense of duty to their parents as I did.
Jesus Christ. Crazy.
Duty is I owe it to you to do it, as opposed to right and wrong, the law, etc. These are different ways of being. And of course, the law in this country does not allow for this way of being.
But are you truly confident that's what your parents wanted?
I know my parents are harsh in certain situations. And if my mother could see where she was going, she would never want that.
But you said they didn't expressly ask to be killed.
Right.
Are you sure you did what they wanted to be done?
I think that they would have increasingly would have wanted me to help them.
Yikes.
If their situation got any worse.
So that day in what you think was August of 2017, what made that day the day?
I think it was a colder evening and the windows were closed. So it was not it was just no noise or something like that.
So you were safe from detection? Is that what
Right,
you're
of
saying?
course. Because it was summer, right? It's usually hot and windows are open, but it was kind of cold that period.
So because it was a little chillier that night, you decided to take your parents' lives.
That note she gave me was sometime in May or June, I think. When she said she fell, it was May or June or something like that. So this has been, my father already told me he has double vision. He had a hearing aid. He couldn't hear anymore. His eyes were going. He couldn't drive. My mother, I knew, was not using her turn signals properly. So they were losing their independence and even awareness of the world because of, breakdown.
Most people, I think I'm safe in saying, would not take their parents' life because they couldn't use their turn signals properly.
Yeah.
That's a very good point. But again, it's not just that. It's one marker of decline. And again, she had a brother and a sister who were going through Alzheimer's. By then, one died, and her brother was going to die, and maybe 2 years later, and he was in a terrible situation. So, the other aunt of mine was I think even in an even worse situation because of Alzheimer's. But I never visited her because women tend to want to be remembered for their beauty when they're young. So I didn't visit her for that reason, but I also never knew enough to visit where she was or anything like that.
But again, you feel like it was your role some might call it playing God, deciding on their lives. It was fair for you to do that?
If the decision is going to be made, it's going to be a playing God decision. And truly, we lived through this COVID thing. Cuomo is, there's probable cause to arrest Andrew Cuomo for thousands of deaths because it's on the record that he sent people into nursing homes for a certain reason, and there was reports that people died as a consequence. So that's probable cause. But he
Andrew Cuomo did not put his hand around
Right.
someneck.
But
Andrew
that-
Cuomo did not put a rope around
Right,
someone's
right.
neck.
Facts.
That he would be culpable of criminally negligent homicide. I think that's
So what are you guilty of? Are you guilty of murder?
You could say age-related homicide or something like that, but
Guys,
it's not in the law. But it should be, somehow it should be. And maybe it will be, and maybe if it's accepted at some point, because there's 40 million people, they'll want it to be accepted, this will blow over. And I'm willing to make restitution to the family. That's why I mentioned that other type of legal system. And
Lawrence, this is not going to blow over.
I know.
You killed your parents.
There is that situation, but to me, it's not very important. It's politics is subject to change. Everything is negotiable. Donald Trump has proven that everything is negotiable in this country. And if you have a good idea and you can help people, you can get a better outcome.
Did you ever kill anyone else?
No way, no way, no way.
Did you ever commit physical harm to anyone else?
No.
This was it. Just
Right.
your mother and your father.
Yep.
masterclass of interviewing.
No one else in your family
Masterclass
ever
of
suffered at your
journalism.
hand.
No.
Okay. Just wanted to check.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Lawrence.
Lawrence, can I ask
I
you?
just kept the Greg Floyd, journalist, keeps the same tone through the entire interview, doesn't let anything shake him, just locked in and kept this guy talking. Masterclass in journalism.
Question. One of the neighbors told us on the scene that your parents were under the impression that you were going to take them on a trip. Did you tell them that you were going to take them on a trip before you killed them?
Jesus Christ.
No, but I asked my mother if she wanted to go with me for a ride to Grafton Park. We'd like to go there.
I think they told people that they were possibly moving to Germany.
That's what I said.
You said that?
Yeah.
You said that to people, not your parents.
Right.
So that was
People ask me, where are my parents? I tell them, because my mother's from Germany, and my father was born in Yugoslavia. And then after they could escape communism, they went to Germany. And then my father came to this country. And then my mother in the 50s.
But there were neighbors who said that they had been told by your parents, oh, we think we're going to move to Germany. Are they mistaken? Are the neighbors remembering that incorrectly? Or could your parents have said that?
They could have said that.
Could they have known something was coming?
Possibly.
You ever give them the impression that maybe you would just move them somewhere?
No.
No. Okay.
That's news to me, to be honest.
Okay. All right. I think we're done.
Okay.
Thank you, Lawrence.
I appreciate it very much.
Thank you for talking to us.
Yep. Thank you. Yeah, if you can make that all available on YouTube, even on a private website for me, so I can have it
Trust
on
me,
record.
it will be available.
Oh,
I
yeah.
appreciate
It'll be
Yeah,
available.
Thank you.
After you're
Thank you.
arrested. After you're arrested, it will be available. Wow. Bruh. All right, let's hear Greg Floyd's reaction, and then we'll play the Jailhouse interview. Ah, la, la. Wild stuff. Okay, this is Greg Floyd, the journalist that actually got this interview and got this man to essentially confess to killing his parents on camera. Let's hear what he had to say.
You buried them.
Um,
Approximately.
2 or 3 days, actually.
So your parents' deceased bodies were in your house with you for 2 or 3 days.
Right.
Greg, obviously this was a very, 25, 30-minute interview, conversation you had with him. When he first walks into the room, and as you sort of were able to interact with him over the course of that time, what was his demeanor? What was it like? And what did you get? What kind of vibe did you get off of him as this conversation unfolded?
Well, he was a man who did have a message he wanted to get out, and it was a bit of a rambling. We called it a manifesto at one point. He called it a statement to the public. We won't get into that right now because it was very hard to comprehend. You could tell he wanted to talk about the burial of his parents, but did not want to talk about the killing of his parents.
Right. And did he see? He wanted to get some message out there, right?
Yes.
Tied to this.
Yes, and we put it on our website. We had basically after the police news conference earlier in the day, not just shortly before we saw him, he contacted us. We made contact with him via phone, and he said if we would put his message, his statement, it's about a 2-page statement, on our web, he would talk to us. So we did that.
Of
He
course.
came in. He made it very clear that he would only talk about the burial and not about what befell his parents. But we talked and we talked, and it eventually came out how he killed his parents and why.
And obviously there was a police presence here around our station at that time, probably because he was I don't know if the police would divulge this, but a person of interest.
Yes, it turns out, I believe they've been following him as you would a person of interest. So they knew he was here. And, right after they knew what had happened, they put him in handcuffs and arrested him.
When it came to the actual interaction, the interview himself, I know you asked him several times in several different ways about the nature of this. Was there a moment where you thought maybe he's not going to say it?
I don't think so. I think he needed to say it. I think, eventually he wanted people to know that in his mind at least, and it could very well be the way it happened, that he was doing his parents a service, that his parents were elderly and were failing, and he felt he was helping them. It seems odd to me that both parents would reach the same level at the same time, and that's for other people to determine.
Sure.
But he truly believes that this was in essence a mercy killing, that his parents needed to have their lives ended.
So, and all this coming together, I guess. You've had a illustrious career, Greg. Have you experienced an interaction like this before?
Probably not, and it's not like I'm proud of it or anything. Because we have to keep in mind that 2 lives were lost here, and it's tough. And it was I just tried to stay calm the whole time, and be a voice of reason as he spoke, and that's just the way it worked. And now the public can see the interview, and they can decide for themselves. Was he, was there, in some ways, was this the right thing to do, or was this cold-blooded killing? It's going to be up to them and eventually a jury to decide.
Yeah, Greg, thanks so much.
Yeah, thanks, Tom.
All right, let's go to the arrest afterwards. Walking out of that station, we'll play the video here. And we'll get to that jailhouse interview. This is just as he walked out of the station, the police arrive and essentially arrest this guy. Can you imagine, the story?
I Yeah, so we just got to put the confession right. Play it, but at 5 o'clock we got to just go to that confession part. You don't want to show the confession at 5? Right.
Wow. And then let's see, we have okay, so that was then. So this is Krause appearing in court. Let me play this for you guys. This is his appearance.
Your Honor, at this time, we reserve an opportunity to make a further application.
Mr. Krause, I note your appearance here today in open court on the record. Being charged today with murder in the 2nd degree, 2 counts, death that you concealed their corpses. Those 4 accusatory instruments, Krause and Teresa Krause. The recording will be now ceased.
She's like, don't do any more interviews with news stations.
Your Honor, at this time, we reserve an opportunity to make a further application.
Mr. Krause, I note your appearance here today in open court on the record. Being charged today with
Lupin.
murder in the 2nd degree, 2 counts.
I think the video is just looping.
That you concealed their corpses. Those 4 accusatory instruments, Krause and Teresa Krause.
Yeah, this is just looping. I don't know why they did that. All right, and then we had the attorney. Let's see. After court, and then we'll play the jailhouse interview.
I think the words last night spoken on Channel 6 speak for themselves. But ultimately, we have to build a case not just on what he said, but physical evidence and witnesses and everything. So that's
Prosecutor.
the next phase. And certainly the stuff he said to Channel 6 last night probably is going to provide some additional avenues of investigation.
I do have a lot of questions about the events that occurred yesterday afternoon, about really how that came to be. Were the police involved? A lot of questions in that front that might take me in different directions in an investigation sense. So again, I don't, I saw it. I saw what was
Albany, New
supposedly
York.
Provided.
A few days ago.
I'm not taking anybody's word for it at this point.
That's his defense attorney, the public defender. All right, let's go to the jailhouse interview that he gave and allowed Greg Floyd to come back and interview him. It's about an 8-minute interview. Let's see what he has to say. This is a wild story.
Thank you for seeing us again, Lawrence. Since you told me yesterday that you killed your parents, do you feel a sense of relief today about that?
Excuse me.
Not any extra relief. No, not at all.
The world knows what happened now. That doesn't.
I mean, that does help, I think. I'm glad that people know about my statement. That's important to me.
But I think people out there care about your parents and what happened to them.
Yes.
Can we just go through that again very quickly? That night that you decided to take their lives, did you know that day, the day before, when did you know that was the time to do this?
My father laid back and was ready. He knew. I just want to say a message that there's a legal defense type of thing, and then there's a political defense. And the most important law in this country is New York State ratification law, which says that the people have the power to reassume the powers of government whensoever it is necessary to their happiness. And one of my goals was to create a board of trustees for New York State. And to create that initial trustee, someone needs to know what to do. So I'm making the claim that I'm the initial trustee of the New York State Board of Trustees, and they would have prosecutorial immunity. And so I appeal to that as having prosecutorial immunity for this case.
It's pretty much a certainty that's not going to happen. You also talked about wanting to be tried under German law.
Well, ancient German law, yes.
Is that still something you're looking for?
I would ask for it. There's nothing wrong with asking. I mean, you never know if you'll get a yes. You can get a yes. And this country is unstable right now. You don't know what could break up. And I do think the country should break up into pieces to make it better for everyone. Even the Washington Post suggested that.
The court of public opinion seems to say that they're not happy with what they heard from you yesterday, that they think it was a cold-blooded crime. Do you understand people thinking that way?
I just pause this. Jen, the couch fairy, says, might there be an issue if the plainclothes officer were there during the interview? I mean, it's just going to basically, I don't know. I'm not an attorney, but I would just think like he agreed to do this. He agreed to come up and talk. So, having a plainclothes officer there, I guess for protection, or if anything went wrong, maybe they were called to ask to be there. Maybe he said it's fine. Those are all questions that his lawyer will dig into. But I don't know. I mean, the guy basically confessed, and he's still confessing here while he's behind bars. So he is the squirrely nut turds. He is the squirrely nut turds. Here we go.
I'm glad you gave me that feedback.
Oh yeah, he probably is.
We all are getting old. We're all going to need help, and we're all going to have to decide how to deal with these kinds of problems. And with 40 million boomers getting into that stage of life, they need their options open, and their families need their options open.
But who are you to decide, other than being their son? But is that decision up to you? Can you play God?
You can do your duty to your parents as they give you feedback, information, etc. And so it's really not a decision of God. It's, you know, whether it's a matter of what kind of lives are you trying to give your parents under grave circumstances that will be coming. You know, if somebody falls and then ends up in the hospital, they're in like a machine that will just process them along, and you will have no way to recapture control, to get control of your own life again.
But they weren't in a hospital. They weren't hooked up to a machine.
Right.
Their lifeline was you, and you snuffed out their lives.
You have to understand that the end was coming, and the world starts to go. You have to decide when your time is up.
But did they decide, or did you decide?
They were giving me hints to this effect.
Okay.
And a hint's enough to go and decide to take a life?
It was information like a plea that this is the beginning of the end for them.
Well, it was the end for them because you made it the end for them.
Okay, I'll have to keep. I think.
What can you tell us about your parents? What kind of people were they? Your mother?
Look at this. Adam Teeper Legal checking in. He said, "Hey, you must have a public defender because after this interview, I would withdraw from representation." There you go. There's a lawyer that's chiming in that knows a lot more about these laws than I do. Yeah, it doesn't look good. He's definitely going to get 100% get convicted.
They're your father.
My father was more. What my mother said: do whatever you want as long as you do good in school.
And the fact of this too, and I want to add to this. Jen said he obviously knew that he was being recorded and what would be disseminated, and he's continuing down that same path even after that interview. He's still reiterating a lot of the stuff that he said in that interview. So even after being arrested, he's still talking.
And so I sort of measured myself as what I'm doing good for school or not. And usually that kept me on track to being doing good in school. And my father was not so much important. Sometimes he would say, "Oh, you don't have to take that test." Or,
were you not as close with your father?
I was close with them in different ways. But I wouldn't say that I was not as close with my father. I always felt closer to my father, I think.
Why did you decide to kill your father first?
Yeah, I can't talk about that. I'll listen to that advice with the lawyer.
After you took their lives, it's been 8 years. What have you been doing in those 8 years?
Trying to make good on their lives by trying to, I tried to start a vote saver philosophy, which never existed before. And I think it's very important to civilization to try to start a new civilization, to recultivate the German people, because after World War II, they were totally wiped out culturally by the United States. Everything was destroyed, and then they were basically Americanized. But I understood that the essence of German culture is folk teleology.
Oh boy.
A philosophical term.
Don't you think your parents might have rather continued to live as opposed to you helping German culture?
Yeah.
My parents always believed in doing their duty. My mother always said, I do this out of duty to you. It's not as concerned with love and life as you might think it is.
Was it a loving relationship you had with your parents?
Could be, Lauren.
Not in a loving, I wouldn't characterize it as loving the way you might say it in America. It was harsh.
It was harsh.
Oh yeah, as a kid.
But it doesn't give permission to murder his
So was
parents.
any of the decision to take their lives in retribution for that?
No.
That the fact that you had a harsh upbringing?
No. Okay. Sorry. Sorry. All right, thank you.
Oh boy. Okay. Well, that is the case of Lorenz Krauss. All that action up in Albany, New York. Wow. Absolute masterclass by Greg Floyd. Great interview. Just kept him on topic, kept him talking. And 2 minutes in, he had the guy confessing in the interview. It's almost like the guy wanted to talk about it. But this whole like manifesto thing and going back to the manifesto is wild. Absolutely wild. Crazy. Let's see. Yeah, no, I know that. Lawrence says, of course it doesn't. I'm just making an observation. Yeah, you did love their Social Security checks. He was taking their Social Security. Yeah. God, man. I mean, what are you thinking every time? And he said he planted a peach tree where he buried his mother. I mean, what the fuck? Can you imagine if he's like picking the peaches and handing them to neighbors? Like, oh, here, have some peaches. I grow these in my front yard. With his mother's body underneath the peach tree. Jesus Christ. Oh, man, the world just keeps getting crazier and crazier. It just keeps getting crazier and crazier. All right. Well, that was a little bit of Saturday morning cartoons for you guys this morning. I appreciate the couple people that could jump in this morning. I know it's not really my regular time that I do these, but I wanted to get this case out there while it was fresh and talk about it. We'll talk about different things here on the channel. We'll put the that's just insane. Never seen anything like that. I've never seen anything like that. Let me see this. Kimberly G, thank you so much for becoming a new member. I appreciate your support. Joy says he's going to a mental prison. No way. Way worse than a state prison. Yeah, we'll have to see what happens. Fed Up said if it's not for the Social Security fraud, he would have gotten away with this. Yeah, that's actually a pretty good point. He probably would have, because he said, oh, I told everybody they were going back to Germany. So he just plays it off. Oh, they're going to Germany. They're going to Germany. They went back to Germany to live. Maybe eventually it would have caught up down the road, but wild story out of Albany, New York. Sophie, good morning. Good morning, Sophie. It's no problem. Hey, it's Saturday morning. People like to sleep in. Unless you're in my neighborhood where everybody's out mowing their freaking lawn at 7 o'clock in the morning and leaf blowing, where they literally were out there 8 hours before that doing the same thing. Is that a mental illness? It's got to be a mental illness. Like day after day after day. Got to mow the lawn, got to blow the leaves, got to mow the lawn, got to blow the grass. You were just out there 8 hours before this doing this. Nothing happened overnight. Believe me, the grass didn't grow 3 feet high overnight. Unbelievable. Let's see. I don't know. He seems more like autistic than mentally ill. I mean, it's a possibility, and I'm sure he's going to have to go through all that psych evaluation, but I mean, they got the goods on this guy. All right. Well, I'm going to head out. I hope everybody has a great Saturday, the rest of their Saturday here. Get out, try to do something constructive today. And we'll be back soon. I appreciate everybody jumping in on kind of this off topic channel stuff, but I like to dig into these things and hear about them and learn about them. And this was just a wild thing. And like I said at the beginning of the video, it was an absolute masterclass by Greg Floyd, Albany, New York, CBS 6. Good stuff there. And we'll keep our eyes on this. We'll see what happens. But I think this guy is dead to rights. He's done. Literally confessed in front of the camera. All right, I'm going to head out, everybody. Have a great day. Talk to you all soon. Peace.